Nehul Vyas. I'm a Director of Analytics Consulting and leader of the Tableau Solution Group here at AVAP. We're so very appreciative of the opportunity to present to you all today, and certainly appreciative of your attendance and engagement throughout this session. Before we dig into our topic, I'd like to provide just a quick overview of AVAP and share a little bit about ourselves. AVAP is a cross-platform, industry-specialized global IT advisory and management consulting firm. Our span of consulting and technology resources enable us to build for the future faster and better than before, combining a massive breadth of experienced consultants across several consulting practice areas with the ability to support clients across multiple sectors and industries. Our analytics offerings span the entire data value chain, from organizational data strategy, where we help clients develop a comprehensive roadmap, to their analytics and technology investments, rapid ROI, where the focus is on driving adoption and utilization of an analytics capability across the organization's footprint, and continuous value to focus on sustained and scalable growth. These three pillars are complemented through our ability to execute engagements, from robust and transformative solution delivery, supporting enterprise data initiatives, Tableau dashboarding quick starts, Tableau technical health checks, with a focus on the infrastructure, setup, and configuration of the Tableau environment. And we even serve as a managed services provider to some of our clients to fully host their Tableau capability, accompanied with full service operational SLAs and hands-on maintenance and administration. Before we get into introductions, I wanted to quickly mention that if you do have a question at any time during the presentation, please do use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen or the chat function. We'll make sure to address your questions in due time. This session will also be available on demand within 2 business days of its recording. Now it's my distinct pleasure to welcome my teammate and colleague, Craig Doherty, Director of Analytics Consulting at AVAP. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. I know we've got a great topic here today. Really looking forward to getting into the meat of it. And with that said, Craig, welcome again, and the floor is yours, sir. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Nehul. Appreciate the introduction. So let's jump into our topic today, which is custom data portals and using embedded Tableau visualizations in them. So it's a presentation about embedding Tableau visualizations into a web-based data portal to create a unique interface for consuming reporting and analytics within your company or with your customers. So then my question to you is, do these incredibly common problems sound familiar to you? So you have to go to multiple places to access all of the reporting necessary to do your job. Super common, right? Report access and security are not centrally managed, meaning the owner of each report controls access. You have challenges providing access to live and interactive reporting to external viewers, your customers, your partners, and things like that. There's a lack of control over the report viewing interface, meaning viewers have to find and interact with the reports in the out-of-the-box interface of your reporting tool of choice, right? Many of the reporting tools that we work with, including Tableau, have wonderful interfaces, but we have very little control over the way people view them and access the reports. They sort of are the way they come, right? And you have difficulty governing an approved source of truth for key data subject areas, leading to different figures on different reports, right? This is one of the #1 things that we encounter in our day-to-day work, multiple sources of the truth, right? So building your own custom data portal with embedded Tableau visualizations can help solve these problems. When I say custom data portal, I'm referring to a web-based interface with a searchable data catalog to provide access to data and reporting, often with embedded Tableau visualizations, or even a mix of analytics and reporting from multiple tools for use by internal employees as well as external customers and partners, right? So here's some key functions and features that should be part of a quality data portal, which will hopefully help kind of paint the picture of what this could look like for you. It should have an intuitive data catalog. Data should be cataloged in an organized and easily searchable manner, right? That's the key to this whole thing. Really, the meat and potatoes of this data portal is the catalog and the ability to search it easily. It should have visual data exploration, transform data sets into interactive visualizations using Tableau, allowing data owners to roll out easy-to-consume visual reports to internal and external partners or customers. It should be secure and traceable, which means when necessary, certain data sets should be secured and available only to authorized users, utilizing an access request approval workflow. So essentially, basic authorization to reporting, right? Like we all do in Tableau every day, but with a built-in custom access request approval workflow on the data portal itself. It should have customized data requirements, meaning that it can accommodate things like sensitive data suppression or configurable row level security based on specific data set requirements, right? We're not just throwing a bunch of data sets and visualizations out on the web with no rules or regulations or configurations, right? Everything is custom built for your specific needs. It should have defined user roles and capabilities. So data access and the capabilities within each data set or visualization should depend on your authentication and authorization within defined user roles. And it can be used to drive awareness of agency of your company or organization's work. You can highlight success stories and latest news with articles detailing your work with data, drawing attention to important data sets, and most importantly, driving adoption, right? So this is not just a place where you go and you get reports and it's boring. This can be a place where you really highlight the data that's out there, especially if you're talking about external customers or partners. So what are some of the key benefits of a custom data portal with embedded Tableau visualizations? You're creating a one-stop shop for all of your critical reporting, right? That's just key. You're improving the user experience of both your internal employees and your external customers and partners by not forcing them to go to multiple places. You're eliminating waste. Should an intuitive user interface customized for your company, right? So you've got your branding out there, particularly if you're talking about external customers, and you've got you have full control over the user interface, right? You can make things as intuitive and efficient as possible. Manage reporting for internal and external consumers in one place, right? Many companies throughout their lifespan will have a bunch of internal reporting tools and then a completely separate tool for external customers or partners. We're talking about one place where we manage all of our critical business reporting for both internal and external people. Centralized governance and control of approved reporting and data distribution. So, I'm sure you're all familiar with the idea or the problem that many of us face where we have reporting in a tool over here, reporting in a spreadsheet on someone's desktop over here, and we lose control really quickly throughout the years. The more and more tools we add, the more and more reports that we build. If we create a data portal that is our single source of truth for all distribution of our reporting, we're centralizing the governance of that into one place, and we're cutting off other tools and processes for sharing data. Audience control, another key benefit. So you can provide public access or utilize a request and approval workflow process for handling secure data. And so we are using our data portal interface to control the audiences that can or can't see, to control that authorization. And then obviously leveraging Tableau's abilities to assist in that authorization. So, why should I embed Tableau into, or what ideas do you have for me when embedding Tableau into a data portal like this, creating a data portal interface, sharing my data sets through a catalog, and embedding Tableau? What are some of the things that I can do to make this the best possible data portal? So here at AVAP, we have in-depth experience embedding Tableau visualizations within web data portals, internal intranet sites, or other public websites. Here's some things that we've done that we believe everyone could benefit from. We'll start out with just the general concept of selecting Tableau as your analytical tool and utilizing the embedding option within a web-based data portal. An interactive Tableau viz, when embedded within a web portal, provides an improved user experience over linking to like a separate page with a visualization on it. So that's just the kind of a general concept there. We also highly recommend integrating with some sort of authentication method. If you have configured your data portal with an authentication method, you can pass on those credentials and generate a trusted ticket through the Tableau API. This will ensure the viewer is authorized to see the embedded visualization and will enable user-specific Tableau features. For publicly available visualizations, you can enable guest access and bypass the authentication integration. Just because you're not using the Tableau server interface doesn't mean you can't take advantage of some of the user customization features. We will often create a custom button that allows users to save or favorite their typical filter and sort configurations. Assuming authentication has been integrated and is being used, users can then easily recall these saved filters with another custom recall button. Similarly, you can tap into the Tableau download options in an intuitive manner on an embedded visualization. Displaying the toolbars in an embedded viz doesn't always give the most streamlined presentation experience. So creating a custom button that generates a download in some desired format, like one for a PDF and one for a CSV, we think provides a superior user experience. You can see a little picture here of some custom buttons, a heart to save your favorite filters, a CSV, and a PDF download option. These are custom images that are embedded into the visualization and replace those toolbar functions so that we don't have to display that toolbar and we just have a seamlessly embedded visualization. Next up is row-level security. So row-level security can of course be applied to any Tableau visualization in a variety of ways. User IDs can be passed to embedded visualizations once integrated with your authentication method. This allows data owners to configure custom security rules for each authorized user. And the best way we think to do that is with web forms on your portal or deriving the rules automatically from some sort of user profile. So maybe you have a CRM system that has your customers in it, or a HR system that has your employees in it, and each of those employees or customers has a profile that says they're with this department or with this company or in this zip code or whatever the case may be. You can use those user profile columns or data points to control the row level security within that visualization, to filter automatically to those values, to present only what the person either needs to see or is allowed to see. This will set your data portal apart from your competitors, providing a much more sophisticated service to your data consumers than typical data publishing methods, right? We can all publish data out there to the world in just a plain format, but to enable integration with either a form where we select row level security for each user individually, or the automatic through the user profiles is a much more sophisticated method. Finally, another really effective concept to use in your data portal is something we call a report builder visualization. Sorry about that. Yeah, so by creating a simple visualization that allows users to select the rows, columns, and measures they want to see, you can empower users to answer many of their most common questions about a data set without the need to master the self-service capabilities of Tableau. While it's certainly not a replacement for a Tableau Creator or Explorer license, it's a good complementary option for your non-power users that will ultimately save a lot of time and one-off reporting needs in the long run. AVAP has developed a proprietary methodology for this concept and would be happy to help empower your organization with the same. But you can see down here at the bottom, basically a matrix builder where we're choosing our rows, we're choosing our columns, and we're choosing our measures. And then we're deciding whether we want to see the results in a table, a chart, a map, or a line graph. And so it's not necessarily a fully customizable visualization, but we're putting this on top of a data set or a series of data sets and allowing users to explore it without having to know SQL, without having to know how to build a Tableau visualization from scratch. So it's just a very effective way to have people answer their simplest questions, something that we highly recommend all the time. So what are some key benefits specifically of using embedded Tableau visualizations in your data portal? You can certainly reap many of the benefits of building a custom data portal without using Tableau as your analytics tool, right? The concept itself stands on its own. But we think embedding Tableau visualizations specifically in a data portal is an extremely effective option. Tableau visualizations make your data more intuitive and appealing, right? If you're a Tableau customer today, you know that. If you're looking at Tableau today, I think it's probably it will become pretty clear pretty quickly to you that these are some of the most intuitive and appealing visualization tool. This is out there. Tableau's embedding feature is easy and looks seamless in your data portal. And for external customers or partner access, Tableau visualizations will put your best foot forward. Going back to that first point, right? This is the market leader out there. By using Tableau visualizations embedded in your data portal, you'll do your employees a favor by giving them a superior tool, and your brand will look better to your customers. Reduce the likelihood the consumer will need to analyze the underlying data any further. So my point here is that if you have an underlying data set that someone can download into Excel and look at, that's great and super powerful. It puts the data in people's hands, and that's great. But by putting in an embedded Tableau visualization, you're guiding the user, down the journey of, what you think they should be looking at, right? What do we think is the best way to analyze this data? And so you're helping that person answer the questions that maybe he or she doesn't even know, that they have yet, right? So that's kind of what I mean by that. So really, that's kind of the whole gist of this presentation. Really, what we're here to say is that we're recommending, we always recommend that you consider a custom data portal interface to display your embedded Tableau visualizations, because we think it provides a superior user experience to your internal employees and your customers. It helps so much with governance. And just the fact that the embedding of Tableau visualizations is so powerful on its own really just kind of brings this whole concept home. So that's kind of the really it's a pretty simple and brief presentation.
Craig, this was excellent. And, where you say simple, I will say it's a very elegant and sophisticated solution that you just went through. So I appreciate you, walking us through it at a good functional level of understanding. I do candidly have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind me picking your brain.
Absolutely.
I think the first one, and again, you sit in an ideal position because you've really helped, architect this both from a functional perspective, an end user experience perspective, and obviously from a technical build perspective. But can you just share, I guess, in some more context and details of how a potential organization can start building a data portal similar to what you just overviewed? I think the journey itself is quite the learning, right? To get into such a good, not complex, but good, effective, and concise capability.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no getting around the fact that you need some sort of web development resources, tools, and skills, right? Or you need to engage with a partner that can help with that. The entire premise of these data portals is that it is a website essentially that is hosting your data catalog. And so there's a data catalog, there's the underlying data sources that you need to connect to, and then of course, the primary purpose of this presentation, the embedded Tableau visualizations. So you need an analytical tool like Tableau. You need the ability for that tool to be embedded within a website, and you need to be able to construct a website in some manner to host that data. You'll also, of course, need the appropriate embedding license for your analytical tool like Tableau in order to be able to do this. And while not always necessary, having the tools and skills to integrate with other tools and data sources will help make with some of the more advanced features, right? We talked about in integrating with web forms. We talked about integrating with like a CRM or some sort of user profile. We talked about integrating with an authentication system. If you can do that, then you'll be able to build a much more sophisticated data portal out of that. So those are the basic ideas.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think the other thing too, just in the spirit of transparency, right? This is a journey. So in that journey, we always pick up really good lessons learned. Are there any good nuggets of wisdom or lessons learned that you can share with our audience here? Just again, based off of your experience in building such capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this kind of goes for any large undertaking, right? Any investment in technology. I always am an advocate for starting small. So even as small as embedding a couple of Tableau visualizations on your website or on your intranet for internal use, right? Those are really good starting points to get just to get the idea here, right? I'm embedding Tableau visualizations on my website. I'm essentially, I've started a one data set catalog, right? And then grow it into a larger data catalog where it becomes your official place to publish reports or even raw data set downloads. And then add in more sophisticated data catalog functionality and other integrated tools to handle more and more of the sophisticated requirements. You'd hate to run the risk of trying to solve every problem at once, right? And never making it to the finish line, which many of us have seen definitely happen before. So definitely biting off piece by piece is a smart move. And then I'd also say this should be done in parallel with a well thought out governance strategy. Those of you who know me probably tired of me talking about governance, but it's just a big part of what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I mean governance of the data coming into the portal as well as how the data is being accessed within the portal. Source data sets should be validated and certified for use. And we should also be monitoring the access to the data sets themselves and the embedded visualizations on a regular basis. We're making that whole thing much easier for ourselves by creating a data portal or data catalog that is a one-stop shop. We only have one place to govern, right? So we're in really good shape, but we still have to govern it, right? Both on the back end and the front end.
Craig, as a part of that, you mentioned governance, and I think just collectively in the world of AVAP, when we drive out our delivery on the analytics side, governance is a very important integrated element of our work. Walk us through, I guess, your perspective on the user experience as well, right? With governance, there's the element of getting buy-in from our respective users to not only adhere to governance policies, but helping to shape those policies. Any, I guess, words of wisdom on the user experience to help drive not only the development efforts of the capability, but the downstream, not just governance, but the adoption and utilization?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's always kind of been a pain or a pain point, in the work that I do, is that people who have problems with day-to-day data and analytics, right? A report that doesn't work right or doesn't match up to the right numbers, a process that isn't working. So what they end up ultimately doing is that the information never bubbles up to the leadership where it needs to go, and they just end up doing a workaround, a 6-hour workaround in Excel for 20 years, and then nobody ever knows that it's a problem, right? So you need to build in a governance as part of your governance strategy. You need to build in a process that allows people to report problems with data sets or reports or analytics, right? So that information has to bubble up to the appropriate authorities in order to solve that problem so that you avoid the waste and workarounds that so often happen for so many years. So by having this data portal interface and saying, look, we are certifying that these are the only this is the single source of truth, right? These are the only validated and certified reports that we have available as an organization. Then and making sure that leadership is preaching that on a regular basis, and that is in a overwhelmingly accepted concept. You have no other choice but to report that this issue or this report is no longer reporting accurate data, right? And you can facilitate that through the user interface, right? Right there, you can put a report a problem button right next to that data set, right next to that embedded visualization, and say, hey, this is a problem, and then that goes to the appropriate authorities and gets corrected. But it's all about driving people into this user interface and making sure that it is known to everyone that they are not to build reporting in any other way. There is no other accepted source of truth within this company. And by making the interface as intuitive and efficient as possible, then people are going to say, well, if I have to go to one place, at least it's a really great place to go to get this information. So that's kind of what I'd have to say to that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, super great perspective there, Craig. Really appreciate that. I do have just one more question in the context of, the visualizations that are being able to be derived by end users. Was there any, what I would consider more tactical training or outreach and messaging to help educate end users on how to actually develop those visits off the data portal itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're going to have a one-stop shop for reporting and analytics, a portal like this, you need to have a well-defined theme or design guidelines rather for your Tableau visualizations or whatever you're embedding into this portal. And so it's important. You definitely don't want a customer having a user experience that's inconsistent across the portal. They open up report A and it's purple themed and the buttons are over here, and you open up report B and it's red themed and the buttons are in a different corner. That's an inconsistent and non-ideal user experience for your customers. But similarly, you want the similar experience for your employees, right? You want your employees to consume the data that they need, get the analytics that they need, and then move on with their lives as fast as possible. And so a consistent user experience is just as important for internal employees and your bottom line as it is for external customers to see, right? And so you've got to, as part of your, back to the governance strategy, right? As part of that governance strategy, you need well-defined analytics design guidelines, and you need to make sure that those are being followed. And I would generally recommend that you don't allow self-publishing to your data portal by the developers without going through some sort of approval process, right? If you've got the sophistication in your web design or your app design capabilities to put in some sort of approval workflow where someone says, goes through a process and says, I'd like to deploy this Tableau visualization to the data portal. And then that goes to an approver who says, yes, this meets our design guidelines. And yes, this data is accurate. Maybe those are two different approvers most likely. And therefore it can be published, right? And then approves that publishing, then great. Otherwise, you just have to build that in a slightly less automated fashion, but you should do it nonetheless, where nothing finds its way onto this portal, and certainly not in a publicly available manner, but also not internally without that approval of design guidelines as well as the validation of the accuracy.
Craig Doherty, this was great. Thank you so much for such an in-depth overview of a robust and rich capability, giving us some lessons learned on the journey to get there, and really honing in also on the user experience, both from a development perspective, from an engagement perspective, and also from a governance perspective. This is fantastic. Really appreciate your time here today, Craig, and best of luck to you. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.